Right, now this will tell us. And that's pretty conclusive. Still going. Close. I think he got it down.
How strong is he?
Welcome back to the Pick and Go podcast, your one-stop shop for all things, well, it's rugby these days. And we're sort of in I guess you could say, a trough, a low spot in terms of rugby, although as we speak, the Blackfern Sevens team are currently applying their way through to the semi-finals, and they have made it to the semi-finals, so we will keep an eye on that, and hopefully they can pick up. Well, I don't know if it'll be our first medal. I hope we have a few more medals by the time they win gold, or by the time they have the opportunity to win gold. But before that, once again, I'm in studio with Pity Weekly. Pity, welcome along.
Thanks, Paulie. That's a very short introduction from you. Usually you like to throw a few teams out there and then forget some, and this week are you rattled this morning? You're a bit rattled there, Paulie.
Well, there've been a few technical issues heading into this, but at least we've got a wee bit of normality returning to the show, because once again we're being joined from up north by Ben Searle of Searle Talk Sport. Searle, welcome back again, bro.
Yeah, cheers. I had to take a 2-week sabbatical after Northcote heartbreakingly lost to your team, Takapuna, on the final hooter. I couldn't face the music, mate. I had to go find myself, but I'm back now. I've recovered. The old Mad Monday's worn off, and I'm ready to talk to you two jokers.
Yeah,
well, we have sort of been talking about you been hiding because of the loss.
but he did say he had a theory that you couldn't make it because Mad Monday celebrations just went a wee bit too far, and you've taken a couple of weeks just to recover.
Yeah, can't confirm or deny, but I will confirm. Pity was 100% right. He doesn't miss much, this bloke. He's sharp, eh?
Because I've been I've done that in the past too.
Experience.
I've done that.
Oh, well, speaking of Takapuna, what happened in the final of that North Harbour rugby up there?
Yeah, North Shore ended up winning it in the end, 20-15 against Tucker. So North Shore didn't lose. They're undefeated now for 2.5 years, which is pretty crazy. I'd love to see them play Ponsonby, who also went undefeated in the Auckland comp. I think that would be a cool little matchup at the end of the season, but unfortunately that doesn't happen. So yeah, they need like a nationals for club, I think. Obviously they've got it at under 85s level, which is epic. And it's harder, I guess, in the Premier League because everyone goes through to play NPC footy, but I think it would still be a cool matchup with a lot of proud clubs going at it head-to-head from across the country. So hopefully that could be brought in the years to come. But yeah, well done to North Shore. Still salty about it, though.
That'd be a good idea, the old...
like
top
a national
clubs.
champ?
Yeah.
For all the...
Do it like secondary schools do. Have the top 16, and then you just got to try and win your zone, Hurricane zone, Auckland and all that, and then see who comes to the final. So something that we might have to talk
to those in charge.
Yeah, it's a good, mean idea.
Well, I know they got their under 85 national champ, which is great. I remember a few years ago, I think there was a curtain raiser to either a Wellington Lions game or a Hurricanes game, and they had the under 85s from, might have been Eastbourne.
It was.
Up
I
against...
caught that game.
Oh, did you?
It was a good game.
Well, one of the old hosts from the Pick and Go was played in that game. So, yeah, it was very good. And I'm glad to see that they're sort of bringing that back again for those under 85s. We wouldn't qualify. Pity.
Yeah, I think the finals
born before 85 or 1985. We're talking about Paulie, or 85 clicks, because it's 85 clicks. Definitely not going to make that.
Righty ho. There's no test match rugby for the All Blacks this weekend. The NPC doesn't start for another week as well. But Scott Robertson has named his squad for the Rugby Championship. And I guess we should probably take a look at it. And I guess there are a few talking points, but there are a few players who were part of the England and the Fijian test matches who aren't there anymore. And there are a few players that have been introduced. I guess if we look at it first, Searle, first of all, the players that have come in, the likes of Will Jordan, well, obviously he was going to come back as soon as he was fit, and it looks like he will be fit. And Ruben Love comes in as well. So I'm not sure. Maybe he's not 100% fit, and they're going to sort of slowly reintroduce him. And they've got a wee bit of cover there as well with Ruben Love, who thoroughly deserves his go. David Havili comes back in again as well. Sam Darry, who, well, he put his hand up. And they've said, yeah, you're good enough. And he did. He played he has played very, very well. And of course, with Scott Barrett, and not 100%, they probably needed a wee bit of cover in the locking department as well. So of the players that have come in, who are you, I guess, most excited to see play first, Searle?
I think it has to be Will Jordan for me. I'm excited about Ruben Love and his potential to get a debut, but if Will Jordan is able to get out on the paddock, I think it's been a real shame his kind of past 18 months and how injury affected he's been. This is obviously his opportunity now to make that 15 jersey his own. So fingers crossed he can be healthy, because yeah, when he's at 100%, he's so exciting, especially at the back. So I'll be really keen to see what he can do at international level. And it makes the makeup of the back line really interesting, right? Do they stick with D-Mac at 10? Do they chuck Bodie there now? Because now we've got a specialist 15 or two of them in the squad. Then you'd have to think one of those two is going to start at the back, surely. So it makes that bench back line makeup really interesting as well. For me, there was a couple interesting selections there, but I'm sure we'll talk about them in a bit as well. But yeah, Will Jordan, probably the most exciting for me. And then that inclusion of Ruben Love, just as a debutant who I think will wear the black jersey for a long time as well.
Pity when you look at the squad overall, anyone there that sort of sticks out, either, yeah, definitely have to have him, or I'm surprised that he made it?
Probably not to those questions, no, but I'm just excited. The one person I'll be keen to see if he's up to it is Ruben when he gets an opportunity. But it just depends on, like Searle said, depends on how they're going to have the selection processes now and the fitness of Will Jordan. But yeah, Ruben, he played pretty outstanding during Super Rugby. So for him to get this opportunity to be involved in this campaign anyway, this is probably one of the toughest ones for the calendar for the ABs. So him going up against some big nations there and players, it'll be huge. So it'll be a good opportunity for him.
Searle, if we stick with Ruben Love, Pitty said he was very, very good throughout the Super Rugby season. Possibly fell away slightly in that semi-final against the Chiefs. However, most of the Hurricanes team fell away slightly in that semi-final loss to the Chiefs. But he finally gets his go. What do you want to see from it? And do you think he gets a call up straight away with the first test in the Rugby Championship being down here at home? Does he get a go in front of the home crowd?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because you think if you're going to give someone a crack, it's in these first two games against Argentina, because on paper, they're probably the weakest team in the Rugby Championship. I doubt you're going to debut someone in South Africa in back-to-back games. So I guess it comes down to how they see this playing out. For me, I think this first game, it'll be a pretty similar squad to what we saw run out against England. And then they might look to roll the changes for that second game against Argentina. But it's really interesting, isn't it? Because if you look at the makeup of the first squad, we were told Bodie and Perifeta were fullbacks. So if you calculate that in, then we've got 4 fullbacks in this squad. And Moni Narawa drops out so that they can still carry Perifeta and bring Ruben Love in as well. So there's going to be a lot of competition at training. Ruben Love, for me, he's an out-and-out fullback. He's express pace. He's a really good playmaker as well, injects himself really well off the back of attacking shape. And he's got a strong kicking game, and he probably has that ability to play 10 too, because he has spent some minutes there. So he's almost like another Perifeta in a way. I guess you could say Perifeta's spent more time at 10 than Ruben Love, but he is reasonably versatile. So yeah, I want to see him start at the back during this Rugby Championship for sure, because I think if you're going to pick a young guy like this, you've got to give him the opportunity to shine.
If we look at the halfbacks, Pity, and one of the players to miss out was Finlay Christie. And I'd like to get your opinion, both of you, later on who was the most unluckiest player to miss out of those who were in the England and the Fiji squad and now aren't in the Rugby Championship squad. But if you look at the halfbacks, Cortez Ratima looked very, very good against Fiji before he had to go off with the HIA. Noah Hotham really didn't miss a beat when he came on. And I thought controlled that back line very, very well. He's only 21. He looked very, very sharp. When you look at the halfbacks, obviously there's still a player to come back from injury who will be slotting in there, no doubt, once he is fully fit. When you look at the halfbacks, are you happy with how they sort of performed during that England and Fiji series?
Yeah, I think they did well. They probably did exactly what the coaches asked them to do. What they've always talked about is trying to get 2-second ball. So we're not going to the breakdown anymore, sitting and waiting. If the ball's available, we get rid of it straight away. If the halfback's not there, like I was, someone else would play halfback just to get rid of the ball. But yeah, creating lightning ball so that they can continue on the momentum and not sort of let defenses set. I think the balance that they've had from all four halfbacks throughout those test matches has been good. And then obviously Noah Hotham getting brought in against the Fiji outfit, and yeah, like you said, he done pretty well. So I think across the board, the four halfbacks that we used throughout the series did exactly what they were required to do.
Shirley, if we have a look at the loose forward, Sam Cane comes back in. Do you think he was selected because we've got two very, very tough test matches in South Africa to get through, and they wanted someone who was, well, we know, battle-hardened, has been there, done that before, as opposed to bringing in a younger sort of up-and-coming loose forward, maybe the likes of Braden Yossi or Peter Larkai, someone like that. Bring Sam in because he does have that experience and that toughness. And maybe it also gives him the opportunity to sort of have his farewell, for want of a better term.
Yeah, this is an interesting one for me. And obviously Sam said that this is his last year playing for the All Blacks at international level because he's going back to Japan. 95 tests, so he's 5 tests off. So he has the chance to get to 100. And he deserves that right in my books. He's been an exceptional All Black, a great skipper. So it's cool to see him go out on his own terms, I guess. At the same time, it's a really interesting decision. I think it shows that they're in a win now mindset rather than a build for the next Rugby World Cup, because I think in year one of a 4-year cycle, personally, I would have liked to have seen them go with a Peter Lakai and give someone like that an opportunity. I think it also shows that they believe Sam Cane is still the best 7 in the country, and perhaps they haven't been as impressed with Dalton, Luke Jacobson, Blackadder's work in these first few tests, and they'd still prefer to see Sam Cane in there, because I think at the breakdown, he's probably still our strongest option. But yeah, personally, I probably would have gone with a Peter Lakai, which a lot of people probably wouldn't be happy about, because Sam Cane has been a great All Black, and it will be cool to see him back out there and that Rugby World Cup final, not his last All Blacks game. But yeah, I don't know. This one in Harvey kind of puzzled me a little bit. Harvey probably more than Sam Cane, but I'm sure we'll touch on that a bit shortly too.
If we look at the front row, a sort of, I guess, an area of rugby you're very familiar with, Pity.
Is that because of my arse or? Well, you know, because it's a big ass.
No, because you would feed the ball into the scrum right next to the front row.
Well, you're just implying that I look more like a
Oh,
cock than a
here
hooker.
we go.
Oh,
Ah.
Paulie. That was a low blow, Paulie.
This is anyway, seeing as you live next door to Tyrell, what sort of information has he been giving you? What's now the camp?
None.
Well,
I don't even want to be anywhere near that environment.
what? Surely you get the word comes. Why knew he's like that big? Why knew he's that big?
Nah.
So
we never get anything. We never chase up on players that are currently in the squads and stuff like that. We just make sure that they're after the game that they're all goods. Come off the pitch all right. But the pack that we've got, well, the front row anyway. I mean, nothing really changes there. They've been pretty solid in terms of their scrummaging. I think the biggest part for some of it is actually the work ethic that our front rowers have these days. Like if you look at the engine of the Groot, Tyrell, you know, they've been able to play almost 60 minutes, or even sometimes Tyrell, I think, might have stayed on for almost 70. But it's just the base that he's got now, the engine that he's worked on, has allowed him to play top tier footy for quite some time. And then obviously you've got Uffa as well, who's been around the Traps for quite some time now, and that value that he can add to the squad too. So I think, you know, with the balance seems to be pretty well in terms of able to work with each other. I guess the best part of it is like when the front row has, or when the forwards have this scrummaging session, they're always trying to replicate what the opposition that they're going up against does, some of their tendencies. So, you know, I think with the likes of Offa and Tyrell, even Ethan, you know, trying to help these younger ones come through, understanding what's good on certain props and what's not good against them as well. So I think it's going pretty well. I really enjoy the work ethic that most of our front rowers are getting through.
Searle, the midfielders, there's been one addition from the, I guess, the midfielders who took part in the first 3 tests of the season. David Harville. Is it one too many in that midfield slot there? Has he brought it once again? Has Razor looked at the fact that they're going to South Africa, they're going to play a couple of test matches there? He wanted someone that he's very familiar with, that he's had a strong relationship with through his time at the Crusaders. But if we look at the performance of the midfielders during that, I thought Billy Proctor, sure, it was Fiji, but he played very, very well there. He was another one who put his hand up and said, yeah, I'm ready for this level of football. Is David Harville a wee bit of I guess, he's one too many in that midfield, or do you agree with Scotty and say, yeah, no, we needed another one in there to just help to get us through this tough test match period?
Yeah, for me, I thought this was an opportunity to pick a young development player in another position. Like, this is where you could pick an extra loose forward and bring in a Lakai or someone like that, just to learn from the likes of Sam Cane and co, because I think there's a 3-person shootout to wear the 13 jersey. We know Geordie's going to be at 12. And then for me, it's Proctor, Rico Ioane, and Anton Leonard-Brown all fighting to wear that 13 jersey. Obviously, only one's going to get the nod, and then you got 2 quality backups already. So I didn't really see the need to carry Harville. Obviously, he's incredibly versatile. He can play 12, he can play 10, he can play 15, but so can Peter Feta, so can Bodie Barrett, now that we've got Will Jordan and Ruben Love in this squad. I think we've got plenty of cover in that midfield outside back area. So, yeah, I was a little surprised by this one. When you add to that as well, he didn't play a lot of Super Rugby, and you could argue his form wasn't outstanding. I definitely think it's Razor going back to someone he knows and trusts, and I'm sure David's handy to have in the squad for his leadership, but I just can't see him getting any minutes personally. So in that kind of mindset, I see it as a bit of a waste of a position, but I could be completely wrong.
Could it possibly be that Havili's in there to maybe give Barrett a rest in one of those test matches for that rugby championship? He's there fair income and he's going to get a run or a couple of runs under Robertson?
I'm a little bit like Searle. It's almost like he's just gone to someone he knows, but there's been players throughout Super Rugby that have stood out really well. So yeah, it's kind of it's just an interesting pick having Havili back in the squad. I mean, you've got the likes of Billy Proctor that could go into 12. He's got the same sort of skill set, or even Anton Leonard-Brown. So you've got quality centres that can push in one and have the same quality and skill set as Geordie as well. Maybe not the full-on confrontational contacts like Geordie does, but I mean, when they need to get over the advantage line, you've got guys that aren't afraid to tuck it under the wing and then try and get over the advantage line. So yeah, it's a very interesting selection there. I don't know. I would have been keen to try and bring a younger player in there to work on a bit of development.
Right. If we look at the squad overall, I've got a question for you this week, Searle and Pity. If you could have anyone added to the squad, so another player, we're not dropping one, who would it be?
Oh, yeah, I'd probably go with the Peter Lakai, just because I think his potential is massive, and I think the benefit that he would have in being in these camps now that we'll see at the next World Cup would be huge, because I genuinely believe that he will be there. I think he's got the makings of an outstanding All Black, and we've seen that at every level he's played at, he's risen to that level too and been a standout. So yeah, I'm still a massive believer in the first year of a World Cup cycle, chucking someone in that you think has a big future, just letting them absorb that. And while they may not play, I think you see the benefits of that in year 2, 3, and then year 4, which is the most crucial one. So yeah, a lot of these selections for me are win now, and some of these guys won't be on the team next year. I think Lakai would have been a great investment to the future.
Pity for you, if you could add one player to that squad, who would it be?
Probably maybe Plummer. Just because in terms of depth, that's an area that we're sort of, we don't have a lot of depth in, and for him to be in that environment with the likes of Damien McKenzie and Bodie, just learning from them just around how they sort of see different pictures. Not only that, what's their prep look like during the week might be totally different to what he's been doing lately. But I mean, I thought he done a great job for the Blues this year, and could have been pretty close to if Bodie wasn't coming back to actually getting a selection. But I mean, he's got that utility as well. You can push him out into 12. But yeah, I'd probably Plummer. I thought he deserved the opportunity to be looked at anyway.
He was probably one of the standout players during the Super Rugby season. So he wouldn't look out of place, I don't think, in a black jersey. I agree with Searle. I think Peter Lakai, there was certainly an opportunity there to introduce him to the squad and get him in amongst the culture, so that he could. And I think he's ready for the step up now. So yeah, I wouldn't have minded seeing him.
I know that they usually use this opportunity to stick to what they know, stick to the players, and then it's usually the end of the year tour.
The Northern Tour?
That they usually try and take a few younger players for development.
So you think we might see a few more,
probably,
I guess, debutants when they head away at the end of the season on that Northern Tour?
You
That
don't think
Northern Tour is brutal though. Now, when you look at it, like, if you're a young buck, you'd rather play the Wallabies in Argentina at the moment than France, Ireland, and England, because there's no easy games on that tour. Like, yeah, I guess it's a great trip to get immersed into the culture because you're away with the team for 5 or 6 weeks, and it'll be interesting if they bring back that apprenticeship, because I think Lakai's perfect for that, even though it's almost an insult calling him an apprentice because he's good enough to be there on his own merits.
I thought it's a good time for us to look back on our All Black season bets that we placed a few weeks back. Pity wasn't here for that episode, so Jeff Goldie Wilson took his place and placed a few bets. He had Rico Ioane to be the top try scorer for the season for the All Blacks. And he also had Cody Taylor to be the top try scorer for the season. He had the All Blacks to go undefeated, which was paying $18 at the time. And he had the All Blacks to have exactly 12 wins at $5. So all of those still live, although he'd want Rico or Cody to start scoring a few tries if they're going to be at the top of that try scorer.
Did you say Goldie made those?
Yeah.
How does he not pick like the wingers?
Yeah, I was going to say a winger. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Goldie. Thanks, though. Those other ones look pretty good at the moment.
Searle had a couple of bets. He took the All Blacks to win either 12 or 13 test matches at $2.75. And then he also had the All Blacks to win exactly 12 tests at $5. I had Rico to be the top try scorer. He's going to have to get a move on, although there's plenty of tests left. I went the All Blacks to be undefeated. That was paying $18. The All Blacks to have 13 wins, which was $6.50, and the All Blacks to have 14 wins, which is paying $21. So we're all still live as we head into the Rugby Championship, which is only just over a week away. Right, I guess we should have a look at the Olympics. And for the men, it's all over. And it was all over too soon, unfortunately, for them. And the quirk of the draw, I guess we can have a look at that first. The quirk of the draw meant that although they finished top of their pool, because South Africa didn't go as well in the pool as most people thought, they had to meet them in the quarters. And to be fair, that second half defense from the South Africans was absolutely superb. To hold the All Black Sevens scoreless in that second half was huge. And that was the difference between them going through to the semi-final and the All Black Sevens going through to the semi-final. So if you have a look at the All Black Sevens performance at the Olympics early, and it can be very, very cruel. It's a very, very cruel system. But if you have a look at it, obviously they'd be disappointed. But how do you see their, I guess, first of all, how they performed and the fact that they didn't make the medal rounds?
Yeah, I was gutted for them because I thought in pool play they looked great. A tough pool. Ireland are really good at sevens over the last couple of years. They hadn't been the strongest sevens nation, but that just shows the depth that they've got now in Irish rugby. So to beat them and then to beat South Africa fairly convincingly in the pool play, I thought they did really well there. But then obviously to lose in a quarterfinal after qualifying as the top seed is just heartbreaking. And you know how much this team and the seven setup prioritizes the Olympics. Like, that's their main focus for the full 4 years. They're just doing everything they can to get ready for this tournament and to win it. So to bow out without bringing a medal home, I don't think it's a fair reflection of how strong we've been, and particularly over the last 2 years where I think this team's made some massive gains. So yeah, I was heartbroken for them. I thought they started that quarterfinal really nervously. That first 2 minutes, I think I saw more passes hit the deck than I've seen from them in a whole tournament combined. I thought they looked a little bit nervous to be taking on South Africa, and you could tell the pressure was starting to build. Well done to South Africa. Like you said, they built their game off defense, but I think this was a potential opportunity missed for this team, because I think they were primed and ready to bring home a medal with some of those young lads, and then the perfect mix of your Scott Currys and guys like that. We did lose a few to injury, which was unfortunate during the tournament, Regan Ware and McGarvey Black. But yeah, I was just watching this, just gutted for them, eh?
Pity. And I guess this is the same for any Olympic event. It only comes around every 4 years. So you put 4 years of hard work into this one opportunity. And if things just don't fall your way on the day, that's just how brutal it can be. And unfortunately for the All Black Sevens, that they found that out, that if you're just slightly off during this period, then you can miss out altogether. But if you have a look at it, I agree with Searle. They played some very, very good footy, and we just met a South African side at the quarterfinal stage who just tackled like demons.
I feel like the South African team learnt from their pool play against our boys, and understood that if they can apply a bit more pressure, there's opportunities for them to create errors and things like that. And you could see it. The boys actually struggled a bit, and compared to how they played against South Africa in the pool round, everything was sticking nice and fluid with their passes. All the movements that they were doing was beautiful to watch. And then South Africa come with a different mindset and different attitude towards, let's just try and put way more pressure than we did in the pool play. And obviously the boys didn't react well enough to it, and keep putting themselves in under too much pressure. I think that last 2 minutes of the game, they were 4, sometimes even 2 meters out, and they still couldn't score. Guys, rather than trying to shift it to space yet, obviously there's space out there, but trying to score tries so they can still try and get a draw out of it, rather than score the try and then try and get back and get a restart and then reset and give yourself a better opportunity that way. So yeah, but I'm absolutely gutted for them. It's not easy to go work for that one moment, all that hard work that you've done over that 4 years to click as a team, only for it to sort of, I wouldn't say crumble, but just big occasion, and they just probably weren't mentally ready for that.
Right. In the end, a great result for the home crowd, with the French team picking up the gold medal, beating the double Olympic champions, the first 2 winners of Rugby Sevens, Fiji. And so they thoroughly deserved their gold medal, the French. And then was it South Africa picking up the bronze? So if you look back on the tournament, Searle, who were your players of the tournament? And I guess there's one that sticks out, a certain French captain, Dupont. And I think he'd probably be on the list of pretty much anyone who watched the Sevens tournament. Yeah. But outside of him, any other players that really stuck out for you?
I thought I'd keep it homegrown and just give a shout out to Moses Leo, who I think has had some bad injuries coming up through the grades. He's already had an ACL surgery, maybe even 2. But he is an absolute talent on the wing for us. He's one of those guys, you just give him early ball. He's quick, he's powerful, pound for pound. He's got to be one of the strongest guys out there. And I think during those pool games, he really got the opportunity to show it against South Africa. Like Pity mentioned in that quarter, we kind of got dragged into an arm wrestle, but I still thought he was our best player in that game. And he looked the most threatening. So I thought Moses Leo was really good, and I'm excited to see how he goes for North Harbour in the NPC coming up. But like you touched on Dupont, I think it's just the whole romantic thing, right? He's in France. Every time he came off the bench, he had such a big impact. Normally, whenever New Zealand's knocked out, you'd be going straight away for Fiji because we just love to see them win. And I still would have loved to have seen them get the gold medal. But at the same time, part of me, like that French crowd, the atmosphere they created was so cool. It was probably the one time I wasn't overly angry to see the French win it. And the fact Dupont was there as well, just another tick on his CV, made it pretty special. Like the transition he's made over the last couple of months to have the impact on this tournament on the biggest stage that he did is pretty phenomenal, really.
Pity for you. If I have a look at one of the big boys in that French gold medal winning team, with one of the best names in world rugby as well, Aaron Grandidier. Ngang.
Whoa.
What? That's a great name.
Did you just come up with it now?
Yeah,
Have you been waiting for it
No.
to pull that one out?
Christ.
Check if it's in his notes. Check if it's in his notes.
Where is it?
I'll clip that up.
Oh, yeah, cut that one up. Anyway, what was your question again?
Yeah, something, I don't know.
You lost me with your nang.
Thought it was a country music
Vince,
festival. Yeah.
Your players of the sevens,
Um,
players of the tournament.
Probably one would have been Stubbsy. I know he had a chance. He's been riddled with injury over the last couple of years, and I know it's been a tough one for him to get back. But he was, for me, especially in the New Zealand team, it was good to see him get out there, finally get his opportunity. Obviously, the result wasn't what they wanted, but I thought that watching him play it was quite refreshing to see all the hard work they had to put to get back into the team, to give him the best shot. And probably one other would have been Mark. No, I don't know how to say his name.
No one going to Tuasi. Yeah.
That's it. No one going to ask you.
The one who's going to
The Roosters.
rugby league. To the
Yeah,
rugby league.
I thought him coming into the Wallaby 7 squad gave them a bit of info, like, that razzle that the Fijian players have, and it paid off. He was throwing offloads and attracting a lot of players and creating opportunities for other guys in his team. So I thought, he had a pretty solid tournament.
You could see how much it meant to Stubbsy. He was devastated afterwards. And everything that he's come through to actually, first of all, just to make it to the Olympics, that was very, very tough to watch. I thought the South African Selwyn Davids was very, very good. Certainly against us in that quarterfinal, I thought he was the difference maker. And he played a big, big part in them winning the bronze medal. Look, I can't not mention a Fijian, and I think Jerry Tuwai, who came back into the side, was another reason that they were playing for another gold medal in 3 Olympic games straight. So, but yeah, it was, as the Olympics can be heartbreaking. It can be so joyous for those who make it through, or maybe have a PB, pick up a medal, or those who win gold medals. But boy, oh boy, for those who just miss, when you're, I guess, first of all, you're very, very well fancied before the tournament starts, and then you start off the tournament very, very well, to then miss out completely. Very, very tough. So it was a great tournament though, and well done to the French boys. In fact, I think I saw them. They must have been doing a wee bit of dance practice.
I saw that.
Because they were like a dance troupe up on the stage.
Yeah. I think they had someone come into camp and teach them it. It was like this dance troupe that was performing in France at the time, and they obviously taught them it, and they busted it out like 3 or 4 times. And some of those boys have got some rhythm, eh? It reminded me of Paulie on Courtney Place back in the 7s days when his hips were a bit more limber. He was moving.
Oh, I wouldn't have mind seeing them in the opening ceremony, to be fair.
Yeah.
Right, we'll move on from the Olympics. And of course, our women, the Blackfern Sevens, still have the opportunity to go for gold as we speak on a Tuesday morning. So all the best to them. Hopefully they can defend their title and come away with another big, big victory. We're a week out from the start of the NPC. I know you played a few NPC games, Pity, and we've got one more week of preseason games. Then we're into it proper. I guess if we have a look at it, and the boys have already got the markets out for the first round of games, but they've also got the markets out to win the actual NPC. And if we have a look at it, favourites are Wellington at $3.50, Auckland are at $4 alongside Canterbury, Taranaki are at $7, Tasman and Hawke's Bay both at $10, $12 for Waikato, Bop $21, Otago $17. Looks like we've taken a bit of money on Otago now into $7. Counties Manukau and North Harbour both 31s, Manawatu 51, and then Northland and Southland, the top and the bottom of the country, both out at $101. So, first of all, Taranaki, the defending champions, $7. Are they being shown enough respect from the bookies? They just look like when I looked at this market, I try and spot a team that sort of sticks out to me that doesn't look right where they are. And for mine, Taranaki looked like a wee bit of value at $7. They're the defending champs. They've got depending on availability from the All Black commitments, they've got a very, very good team right across the board. But if you have a look at it, Searle, anything stick out for you?
That was the team that I penciled as a bit of value, but the 99% of it for me comes down to if the guys who aren't picked for the All Blacks and they're in that squad, if they're allowed to play. So if Stephen Perofeta is playing for Taranaki, then I'm all on board with that $7 because he makes a massive difference to that team. And we saw it at the back end of the tournament last year. I think he was so crucial in getting them home. But like you touched on, there's some quality players there, like Jacob Ratamatavuki, Nepkins. That team's pretty stacked. So I'm keen to see how Taranaki go. You could say the same for Tasman. They've got a few guys that'll probably play round one. I'm picking with your Will Jordans in that. I see that he's at training with them, whether he just plays a preseason game this weekend or whether he's going to feature in round one. That makes a big difference. I think Wellington and Auckland on paper are still your most stacked squads. I was surprised to see Otago paying better money than Bay of Plenty, who I think have some strong players in that team too. And then the disrespect for North Harbour, that's just... Look, whoever the bookies are, someone needs to pull their head in. You know, you got Bryn Hall back, Tane Edmund, he's come across from the Waratahs, Karl Tuinu returning All Black back in the mixer too. And if they can get Wallace Satiti back in this squad as well, if he's not getting many minutes for the All Blacks, then I reckon that Harbour team's a top four bolter, eh? And got a little future bet on them for that first matchup next week up against Hawke's Bay. $3.50, 1-12 at home, the Dog Pound, QBE Stadium, North Harbour, mate. That is just crazy scenes. Get up the Harbour Heat.
The Dog Pound. Wow.
Let the dogs out.
There it is.
He's almost convinced me to put a few dollars on North.
Yeah.
It is. How you've got to now because you're a Takapuna.
Yeah, there's plenty of Taker boys in there, Paulie, for you to ride home, mate.
If we have first of all, if we have a look at that Taranaki squad, boy oh boy, obviously we've got the Barrett brothers. How many games they'll play, not really sure. But you've still got the likes of Kini Naholo, as you said, Ratumai Tavuki, Neepkins. In the
Rona?
forward,
Daniel Rona.
Oh yes, yep. In the midfield, Daniel Rona. They just look absolute. Kalen Bosher, Tupou Vai, Josh Lord, I think he's cover for the All Blacks just because of that Scott Barrett injury. So he's in the squad just to help out. I don't remember a Taranaki team without a Slater, so Bradley Slater's in there as well. I really do like the look of it, and I agree. Shirley mentioned Bay of Plenty, and I think they are the Smoky of the NPC this season. But for you, Pity, if you have a look, and you have a look at the Wellington team, and I see they brought in a couple of loose-head props from Japan to help out that scrum. Once again, I think they were expecting to have Ruben Love available for the first part of the season. Well, Scott Robertson has put that to bed by selecting him for the All Blacks. So fantastic for him. But they still have a very, very good look to them. If you look at the loose forwards, Peter Larkai, Duplessis Karifi, Brad Shields. Well, that was basically the Hurricanes' loose forward trio at times during the season. So what have you heard from the camp?
What have you heard from the camp?
Come on, bro. We know that you're close to the camp.
I've actually stayed away from that too. It's just because it's once you're retired, mate, you don't want to go back there. So that I haven't heard anything from them, but just from a distance, looking at the squad, it's definitely potential to have another good season as they did last year. Obviously, different head coach this year with Tamati not being there, but Orlando's sort of in that role now and helping out and meeting with I guess the coaches last year when Tamati was there it was a good environment. It was a good environment to sort of go in, just watch and listen to sort of how they coach and just to see what they're trying to achieve is pretty cool. So I think we could be right with potentially one of the favourites to win it. But yeah, I definitely know some of these squads can definitely show up and be under the radar. I mean, if you look at Searle said
North Harbour.
Yeah.
Look, he hasn't convinced you, has he?
Nah, it's only because I when Bryn was first coming into the professional environment, I've always sort of kept an eye on him when he went down south. I know that was a tough decision for him to do, and now that he's back in the country, he gets another opportunity to get back into footy on this side of the ditch.
I guess if we look at the teams towards the bottom of the market there, Searle, Southland, look, they'll be tough down there. And if they get a terrible day weather-wise, it's always, I don't know, I think Pity might have gone down there 2 or 3 times to play Southland. And if it's a bad day, you probably want to get home as quickly as you can. So they've got the ability to cause a few upsets, but it could be a very, very long season. Of course, they got the likes of Ethan de Groot and Sevu Reese down there this season. Once again, how many games they'll actually get to play for the Stags, well, we'll only find out at the end of the season. But can you see one of those teams that the bookies have towards the bottom of the market actually surprising and maybe pick up a few more wins than they might be expected to?
I think Northland are always that team for me, and I think last year they did just that and surprised quite a few teams. They're tough to beat at home, and there's some talented players in that squad. So Northland's always a team that I don't mind having a cheeky little flutter on, especially when they're at home. If they're paying big money, then they're certainly capable. You mentioned Southland there. I think they've recruited quite well, but they will struggle on the road up against the big dogs. One player I'm excited to see get a crack, his name's Falato Penny, and he's up from Auckland. He's been at Ponsonby. He was at Manukau Rovers over the last couple of years when they were winning the comp. And I think he's the best back in Auckland club rugby. Hasn't got his opportunity with Auckland, so he's moved down to Southland. He's a 10-12, and he's someone to watch too, because I think he could be handy in that Highlanders environment. But yeah, for me, the biggest of those bottom ranked teams at the moment would have to be Northland. Always love watching them play. So hopefully they can pull off a few upsets up north.
Okay. I guess what we want to know now is who's your top 8 who makes the top 8 for the season and who wins the comp. So we'll stick with you, Searle. Your top 8, are there any surprises that you're going to throw at us?
Well, I think North Harbour make it. I mentioned that name before. I missed off Sean Stevenson, who's going to be fired up after clearly he's 5th or 6th best fullback in New Zealand in Razor Robinson's eyes. So let's see how that plays out. But yeah, I think Harbour make the 8 for sure. In terms of your others, I'll just work it out now as I tick through it. I think it'll be your usual suspects: Auckland, Wellington, Canterbury, Waikato, Bay of Plenty, North Harbour, Hawke's Bay, and Tasman. There you go. There's mine. And I think Taranaki will get Perewhita for the majority of the season, and that'll make them hard to beat. But that Auckland team I don't know, every year when you see it on paper, I don't quite think they live up to the expectations. They won it a couple years back, didn't win it last year when they probably should have on paper. And when you look at that back line, like Harry Plummer, Zahn Sullivan, AJ Lamb, there's some guys there in exceptional form. The players in the wider squad name that aren't even contracted would make the majority of other provinces' teams. So, yeah, they got so much talent to pick from. But yeah, I like that Taranaki team just because every year they seem to punch above their weight.
Pity, your top 8 and the winner.
Ooh. Canterbury, Waikato, Wellington, Auckland, Taranaki, Otago, I want to say Tanifas and Harbour.
Oh, Tanifa.
We worked it out. I think you only need to win like 6 games to qualify. Or 5 or 6 games to qualify, and if you can get that with bonus points, then you should be able to push to make the top 8.
Right, I'm going to go Wellington, Auckland, Canterbury, Taranaki, Tasman. I don't think Hawke's Bay make it. I think the Shield may be a weight that's just a wee bit too much for them to bear. I think they're going to have to rest well, everyone's going to have to rest a few players because the way the schedule is made, there's going to be times when you cannot play your top 15. But I just think the fact that they will have all eyes on defending the Shield, it might take them away from a few wins that they may have picked up on the road. So I've got Hawke's Bay just missing out. A Waikato in, Bay of Plenty in. I think Counties Manukau make it in as well. They can. But outside of the top 4 or 5, I think it's very wide open, and you could see any number of teams make it in there. And I've got Taranaki going back to back. I think I agree with Searle. If Perofeta gets to play the bulk of the games for Taranaki, they'll be very, very tough to beat. So that's our little look there. And North Harbour is and the first round of games already out there, and we'll have a little look at them next week on the Pick and Go. Hunch?
No, I'm not doing these anymore.
You heard about his hunch, haven't you, Searle? You have heard about his hunch.
What's the hunch? Tell me more.
I picked
he goes, oh,
Roigard injured.
So Roigard got injured. Oh, TJ got injured. Oh, so number 9.
Oh no.
And then what happens? Cortez Ratima, bang, goes off. It's almost like you called it.
That was my hunch to get 9 tries, not get another number 9 injured. So that's it. No more hunches for me. I'm out.
The Grim Reaper of halfbacks. He's just trying to get his way back into the squad, eh?
Yeah. If another 2 or 3 halfbacks fall over, Pity's number 1 pick for Scott Robertson.
Yeah, my bad.
Especially after Robertson watches Match Fit, he'll be going, gee, Pity, he's getting back into it again.
Bolter, especially with 4 years to the next World Cup, you got plenty of time.
Was that for the geriatric?
Have you actually played for what they call them? The Golden Orbit? You know, the old fellas.
Classics.
The Classics, yeah, Classics.
Yes,
Golden.
I've played a couple of games in the Classics.
Have you?
Yeah.
How'd you go?
We won the game. I can't remember what it was again, but we won. It was just a cool sort of initiative that was started, and obviously they played against the Spanish national team with a few of the old buggers a few years ago. So it's a cool little thing, but joints are no good. They're playing up. Knees no good. Arthritis in both ankles. Shoulders are no good. Not that I made many tackles, but
just from sleeping weird, eh?
Hard.
Searle, have you got a hunch for this week?
Yeah, mine's a bit boring, but my hunch is that Portia Woodman will go out a gold medalist and then make her move over to the NRLW to join the Warriors, where she'll bring back gold next year as well. So back-to-back golds for Portia Woodman.
Okay. It's sort of a hunch. We've got a few Aussies in the office this week, over to keep an eye on what we're doing. No, to do a few things. And also, a day or two ago, I looked at the Olympic medal table, and the Aussies were at the top there. I think they had 3 or 4 gold medals. So, and they're still up in the top 3 or 4 as we speak. So they're going really, really well. So, I'm taking Australia in the Rugby Championship, not to win the whole thing. No, not to win the whole thing. I think they might knock over the South Africans in their first match, which is next week. So yeah, Australia to beat South Africa at $3.10. That's my hunch.
That's for this week.
Well, it's not this week. It's next. Yeah, well, that's my hunch for this week, but the game doesn't happen until next week. So you want to focus on?
You don't want to focus. Leave that one for next week.
They've brainwashed you. They've brainwashed you, Paulie. You've been listening to their Aussie gibberish for too long, mate.
I'll have another hunch for next week, and you better have one too. I mean,
I told you, no more hunches. After that one hunch, I'm done.
Pick a position where you think we're really strong and you don't want them in the team. Or pick the Wallabies number 9 or South Africa's number 9 or something, mate. Help us out.
All righty. So we've got $100 to spend, and we're going to spend it on the NPC futures. So it's just the overall market that the boys have got to open at the moment. So, Searle, where are you going to put your $100 on the NPC?
Could I do a bet for next week that I think the odds are going to drop down on?
Yeah, sure.
So I've gone North Harbour 1-12 over Hawke's Bay. Like Paulie said, Hawke's Bay's focus is going to be just defending the Shield. This is at the dog pound. I think the boys get it done. $3.50, massive overs there. So I'm going to chuck 50 on that. And then I'm going to chuck 50 on Taranaki to win it at $7.
Beauty. Pity?
I was going to do 50 on Taranaki to win it, and then 50 on the Lions.
Oh, nice. So the Lions favourites at $3.50 and Taranaki are at $7.
Hurricanes region. I see what you've done there. Predictable.
Well, Taranaki are currently the Chiefs, actually. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So they're not actually the Hurricanes.
Used to be.
Yeah, there we go.
But they were the naughty children.
Didn't like the tinny house.
Yeah, it'll be all on down here. Don't worry about that. I'm going to be a wee bit boring. I'm going to go similar to you guys. I'm going to have 50 on the Wellington Lions at $3.50. I'm going to have 30 on Taranaki at $7, and I have 20 on Bay of Plenty at $21. Just a little sneaky on those guys, just in case they.
You don't want to do Harbour because you're Takapuna.
Yeah, come on, mate. The boys will get played this in the sheds, and you'll be up on the dartboard. They'll be like, even Paulie's writing us off after Searle's inspirational speech. What more can I say, mate? Ben Afiaki's back to coach them, back from America, ex-All Black. What more do you need? It's ticking every box.
Ex-Hurricane?
Yeah.
Did you play with Ben?
No. He was at the Chiefs.
Oh, did you ever play with that?
I played with him in the Maldives.
Oh, okay. Right.
Is that enough for you? Nah.
Footy.
Yeah.
No, there's
Footy.
He was huge. He was like you wouldn't want to be standing in front when he was running at you with the ball.
No, he's got a massive torso. Like it's his back was like, you know, in terms of scrummaging, like
He was
Yeah,
Like,
tough to move.
yeah. Alrighty. Oh, I think we've got to come to the end. Pity wants to get out of here. He's got, well, what are you going to do?
I can't really say because I might get us in trouble. So we've actually got team building. I'll put it that way. Team building. I can't.
He's going to All Blacks camp. He's in at All Blacks camp, Paulie. You've been calling it, mate.
Some good oil next week from Pity.
Yeah, either that or he's off to catch up with Tyrell down at the supermarket. He just won't tell us. That's why he can't say.
And what about the boys?
We've got our last round robin this weekend against Tawa College. And then we're pretty much guaranteed to make the playoffs. And then, so we're just sort of trying to iron out a few creases, prepping for next week. That's what today's going to be, but you can't say in case someone from school
listens to this and hey, those. So I don't want to get into trouble, you know.
Shirley, what do you got up coming up this weekend?
This weekend we've got Warriors Friday night, mate. Obviously, she's a rival code, but I'll be there running the old TAB club rooms. And then apart from that, not a lot, to be fair. Last weekend before NPC kicks off, so yeah, I'll be enjoying some time away from the screen before it all gets underway next week. Because yeah, NPC is probably my favourite level of footy, and I try to watch almost every game. So really looking forward to that.
Awesome. Okay, we'll be back again next week when we have a look at the first round of games for the NPC and the big build-up to the All Blacks' first test in the Rugby Championship. There's plenty of rugby, and also, hopefully, we'll be celebrating a Black Fern Sevens
Go the girls.
victory in Paris.
Up the girls. Let's go.
All righty. Thanks for joining us today, boys, and we'll be back again next week with the Pick and Go podcast.